talking about the Jamb issue right. I think we also have the joining from ANAMBRA of immediate pass for basic for state. Professor.
Morning. Good morning to you.
It's so good to have you this morning. In the light of what happened concerning summer issue and also decision by the Anambra government to set up an investigative committee to unravel this. From that perspective, Professor, what's your take on decision by Anambra State government to set an investigative committee on this issue?
Well, let me say that first of all, as a professor of mass communication and the city or Canada as an exception. I want to make that very clear. I'm also speaking too as a professor who also has a very good background in education and having been trained in education, to degree level and having done court studies and a whole lot of stuff. Therefore, what I'm saying is not an official position. Make that very clear. And let me also say that, first of all, I've always said it to anybody care to listen, that we in Nigeria, we keep jumping the gun all the time. I mean, it is a clear case that there are so many questions begging for answer. And I think that's what Anambra State government, some team of people, credible people, knowledgeable people, who can try to answer those questions. That is my stand, and we wait to see what comes out of it. And by the way, I had already joined when I had about the availability of social media, and I put it down to lack of literacy in media literacy. That's why people simply believe in social media and keep acting on that. If you are knowledgeable in the media, if you have media literacy, you question, you interrogate, you won't just swallow everything like. And this woman's case is actually a point. We just the bandwagon, kind of spiral effect. I mean, it's being shared in every blog, in every social media outlet, and is that we are demonizing this girl and criminalizing her in so many ways, and she has a future before her, and we need to be very conscious that we are not going to kill an insect as we are killing an elephant. You see, so I think the Anambra State government is in the right direction to try to answer so many questions begging for answers, and I think we'll better wait and see what comes up out of that. There has to be an explanation, of what happened. Even if she did that, I always said that most people behind it who probably either goaded her into doing that or some other thing. I mean, it's the big masquerade that we mask, not the girl who probably could be a victim of circumstances. Thank you.
Thing that for us right now. So, okay, because we're looking at the ricocheting. What's been done to prevent issues like this from cropping up over time, because we've had a lot of people doing it. But let's take a look at the education sector. As the education sector also failed us in this regard, what the issue with Mesoma to have happened? What do you think about the education sector? What can we do to be able to revamp that sector?
I've been at the Home of Affairs for 8 years, and I can tell you that we have many problems in education, a whole lot. The principal among them is this issue of, people to believe in themselves. That is one. There is always, my experience is that we time you ask a child a question, even as a commissioner, you just ask a question anywhere, you see some older person saying, "Is this? Tell her is this?" And I said, leave her to answer the question. And this idea of, we don't even allow these children to do critical thinking, to think. And then the children have started to believe that they can't do it. And that has led to millions and millions of problems, especially some malpractices of the so-called miracle and magic centers, which we fought tooth and nail in Anambra State. And it's unbelievable. That's the major problem we have in education. Of course, apart from the funding issue and a whole lot of things. But I think for me, education is about ideology. It's what you believe in that you profess, and what you profess that you do. And if you believe that you can do it, I mean, we had every kind of, nothing is impossible. I do not accept failure. Yes, we can. Yes, I can. We wanted to instill in Anambra that ability, that psychological fight to believe in themselves. I mean, it's working for us in Anambra. So we have a whole lot of children who are doing well. We have a whole lot of schools who are doing well. And what you want to say, why do we keep marching out for international recognition and marching out for international recognition, marching out for every manner of things? You know, why do we keep trying to go for competitions outside and winning? Why do we keep winning? And it's because we are trying to instill in them. That's what the greatest challenge we have. The greatest challenge that we have is that we have to create these children that believe in themselves. And if you don't create that in them, they'll keep thinking that they can cut corners. If they cut corners, it's going to, it's things like this, the Mesoma case and stuff will keep happening. You know, and of course, you know, we're experimenting with technology and all manner of things. And we are not perfect in technology. Technology is also full of, challenges, which we are still struggling within the education sector to get right. So we keep making mistakes, we keep correcting them, and we keep marching on. But what is important to me as an educationist is that we must have to make our children believe in themselves. If they believe in themselves, if you do not help them in good, you know, I mean, we've had cases of parents, for God's sake, who would, go out to look for the so-called miracle center because they want a place they can make it. They want to make it without working for it. You know, so that's the major challenge I see in education. As soon as we do not design programs, critical thinking, analytical thinking, there was a project we did in Anambra State when I was commissioner, Literacy Enhancement Achievement Project with the Reading Association of Nigeria. We were able to, put in the teachers that idea of transfer of learning, critical thinking, analytical thinking, and see how they can celebrate students who actually have done well. So we need to design more of those programs to make these children believe in themselves. That's what I think.
Prof, talking education sector, has been the argument that proliferation of private institutions has actually contributed to the decaying of public schools. What's your take on that? Do you share that sentiment?
Contributed a lot to the progress of education generally. But we also know that there are some private schools, indeed a whole lot of them, that are in every form substandard and in every form more like people who are marketing, just looking for business people, places where we know that these are the areas that most times they want to trade education. So, we still know that it's left for the government because I have in my state, for example, more than 50% of our children go to. So because government itself is not providing in terms of assets. I mean, there are areas, you could not believe it, there were schools that we had to set up for some areas in my state. And Anambra State is known to be, among the people with the high literacy index. And now, these towns have never had a secondary school all through their existence. There's still some of them like that. So private schools try to provide that because, I mean, no child is supposed to walk more than 2 kilometers to go to school. So you see that there are areas that the children will have to go to up to 5 kilometers to go to school. So that's where private schools come in sometimes with some standard things to just set up. So they are serving their own needs. So we cannot, wish them away even if we want to. But then it's left for the government to have regulatory and quality assurance platform where they can actually regulate what they do. So I'm not going to condemn private education simply like that because they serve their peoples too. But the government must have to be more, have the political will, to ensure that they also do the right thing, especially in terms of curriculum, the things they teach, and the monitoring actually that all the quality assurance this is in place.
The other girl who came support also happens to come from Anambra State. And in the last few years, the Southeast have been producing some of the best talent in the UAEC and Jamb. But taking a case study at Anambra State, how do we ensure we come up with a curriculum or a project that can ensure that the best talent don't get washed away in the light of monetary challenges and stuff like that? They can to assess quality education from the basic, from primary school to secondary school. In the light of the fact that you still staff in the immediate government, how do we ensure that people who are big enough to get to go to school and be able to showcase what they
are? In Anambra State, successive government has actually focused on education. The current governor is also working very hard and has his eyes on the ball on education. What we have done over time is one, I'll give you an example. There are some areas in Anambra State, in spite of our being acclaimed literary giants, there are still areas in Anambra State where children still marry at the age of 10 and 11. You may not believe it, but that is true. Where there's a whole genderedness in everything that is done. Girls are mostly used as hands in the farms. These people are majorly fishermen and women, and they're actually the food basket of Anambra State. But a lot of things actually make them not to go to school. Professor Soludo has actually continued what was done last time. We picked about 106 of them, both boys and girls, and put them into school, fully funded. We worked with the public mission schools because for us, nature and nurture are things that actually make a human being. And some of them are naturally brilliant, but they're indigent. And they were put in scholarship, fully funded. Some of them have graduated with very top results. Some of them have actually made it to the honors board of their schools, showing that, because they were there in the very, very place you ask, are these in the Anambra, really? We conducted a research on that, and we were able to find out these areas. So for us, access to education is also very important. So we look at people who are indigent but brilliant, and we give them scholarship. Professor Sulu has actually done that again. On these people, some of them who were in JS1 by the time we left government, they've moved on. Some of them are out in the SS3 now, and so this is about access, because we believe that no child is to be left behind. That's what we believe. What is actually being discussed now, I understand, coming from what we did last time, was how we are going to actually pick out those brilliant students, the gifted ones. We have a whole lot of them. Indeed, the research we did when we're talking about having the not just the physically challenged, but the gifted children too, special children. We found out that a whole lot of our children are gifted. I'm not surprised because, I mean, in the school for the gifted in Suleja, check it. Over the years, Anambra State have continued to have the highest number of people in the school for the gifted. So what is being explored in Anambra State is how we are also going to, not just going to Suleja, but have a special school too in Anambra State where we can actually give more focus to these gifted children. So what we are doing in Anambra State is actually making sure that no child is left behind, and making sure that we have this kind of inclusive kind of education, even for the physically challenged. And I think we are. I don't need to give myself pass mark, but I think Anambra State is actually focused on ensuring that we are one of the 3 top states with the lowest illiteracy rates.
Kate OMENUGHA right there joining us from Anambra State, the immediate past commissioner for basic education in Anambra State. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.